I was in active labor, contractions tearing through me every 2 minutes, when I texted my husband that our daughter was coming early. He replied, "Can't leave right now. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're a subscriber, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Crystal needs me for the Singapore pitch. You've got the doctors there. You'll be fine." I stared at those words while nurses rushed around me, and typed back with shaking hands, "Okay." That single word would end our marriage. What the hospital security footage captured, and what went viral 48 hours later, would make him realize that some moments can't be rescheduled for a VP's convenience. I'm lying in labor and delivery room 7 at Mercy Heights Medical Center, watching the fetal monitor spike with each contraction that feels like my body is being torn in half. It's 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, 3 weeks before my due date, which means none of the carefully laid plans matter anymore. Our daughter has decided she's coming today, and she's not asking permission. The text message sits on my phone screen, the words blurring slightly as another contraction peaks. "Can't leave right now. Crystal needs me for the Singapore pitch. You've got the doctors there. You'll be fine. Crystal Hastings, VP of International Development at Kendrick & Associates. The woman my husband Jeremy has been working with for the past 8 months on what he calls the biggest opportunity of his career. The woman whose name appears on his phone more often than mine does. The woman who apparently needs him more than his wife in labor needs him. I read the message 3 times, certain I must be misunderstanding something. The medication they gave me for pain is making everything feel distant and foggy, so maybe I'm not processing this correctly. Maybe there's some reasonable explanation for why my husband of 6 years just told me to handle giving birth alone because his VP needs him for a pitch meeting. But the words don't change. They sit there, each one perfectly clear, spelling out exactly what they mean. You've got the doctors there. As if doctors are a substitute for a husband. As if the medical staff surrounding me can somehow fill the space where Jeremy should be, holding my hand, telling me I'm doing great, being present for the moment his daughter enters the world. You'll be fine. Will I? I'm 34 weeks pregnant, 3 weeks early, with my blood pressure climbing high enough that Dr. Reyes keeps exchanging concerned looks with the nurses. They're talking about the possibility of an emergency C-section if things don't stabilize. But sure, I'll be fine. I've got doctors. My fingers hover over the keyboard. Part of me wants to type exactly what I'm thinking, that this is our daughter, that this is the most important moment of our lives, that Crystal and her Singapore pitch can wait 3 goddamn hours. But another part of me, the part that's been trained over 6 years of marriage to accommodate Jeremy's career ambitions, types something else entirely. Okay. 1 word. 4 letters. The response of someone who's learned that arguing is pointless, that expressing needs is called being dramatic, that sometimes it's easier to just surrender than to fight for basic consideration. I hit send and immediately feel something crack inside my chest. Not my heart exactly, though that's certainly involved. It's bigger than that. It's the fundamental structure that's been holding my marriage together, the belief that when it really matters, when everything is falling apart and I genuinely need him, Jeremy will show up. Nurse Monica, mid-50s, kind eyes, the kind of competence that comes from 20 years in labor and delivery, appears at my bedside. She's checking the fetal monitor, her expression professionally neutral, but I catch her glancing at my phone. "Is someone coming to be with you, honey?" she asks gently. "My husband's at work," I say, and even I can hear how pathetic it sounds. "Important meeting." Monica's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in her eyes. Understanding, maybe. Or pity. Probably both. What about anyone else? Your mom, a sister, a friend? My mother is in Arizona, a 6-hour flight away. My sister Alyssa is in the middle of her own crisis. Her husband just moved out last week. My closest friend Sally is traveling for work. I'd planned for none of this to matter because Jeremy would be here. We'd taken the birthing classes together. He'd promised, multiple times, that nothing would keep him from this moment. Apparently, Crystal Hastings and a pitch meeting qualified as nothing. "It's okay," I tell Monica, forcing something that might pass for a smile. I'll be fine. Those words again. Jeremy's words, now coming out of my mouth like I've internalized his dismissal and made it my own truth. Monica squeezes my hand. You're going to do great, honey. We're right here with you. She means well. They all mean well. But as another contraction rips through me and I reach instinctively for a hand that isn't there, I realize something with absolute clarity. I'm about to give birth to my first child completely alone because my husband chose a VP's pitch meeting over being present for his daughter's arrival. And somewhere in the breaking pain and the loneliness and the rage I'm too well trained to express, I make a decision. This ends today. This morning feels like it happened in a different lifetime, though it's only been 6 hours. I'd woken up at 5:30 a.m. to make Jeremy's breakfast, the same breakfast I'd been making for 6 years. Scrambled eggs with chives, turkey bacon cooked until the edges crisped, whole wheat toast with the expensive organic butter he preferred, fresh squeezed orange juice. My hands moved through the motions automatically while my mind drifted to the nursery we'd finally finished last weekend, the tiny clothes washed and folded, the car seat installed and ready. Jeremy had come downstairs at 6:15, already dressed in the charcoal suit Crystal had complimented last month. I'd noticed he'd been wearing it every Tuesday since then, Tuesday being the day they had their standing strategy sessions that somehow always ran through lunch and into the afternoon. Big day, he'd said, kissing my forehead absently while scrolling through his phone. Not looking at me. Not noticing that I'd been up since 4 a.m. with false contractions, or that I was moving slower than usual, or that my face was puffy from the fluid retention Dr. Reyes had warned us to watch for. The Singapore pitch? I'd asked, knowing the answer. Crystal thinks we're finally ready. 8 months of work comes down to this one presentation. He'd paused, fork halfway to his mouth, still looking at his phone. She's nervous. I told her I'd run through the numbers with her one more time before the video call. Crystal's nervous. Crystal needs him. Crystal, Crystal, Crystal. It had started 8 months ago when Jeremy's firm landed Kendrick and Associates as a client. Crystal Hastings swept in as the VP overseeing the partnership, Harvard MBA, Forbes 30 under 33 years ago, the kind of sharp-edged ambition that made men like Jeremy forget they had wives at home. The first month, it was one evening meeting per week. Networking dinner, Jeremy called it. Building client relationships. By month 2, it was 2 evening meetings, plus Saturday morning, strategy sessions, at the office. Month 3 brought the text messages at all hours. Crystal checking in on projections. Crystal asking his opinion on a slide deck. Crystal sharing articles she thought he'd find interesting. Always signed with, "Thanks, you're a lifesaver," or "Don't know what I'd do without you." I'd tried to bring it up casually once, about 3 months in. We were in bed, and his phone had buzzed for the 4th time that hour. Does Crystal ever stop working? I'd asked, keeping my tone light. Jeremy had looked at me with genuine surprise. She's under enormous pressure. This Singapore expansion could define her career. She needs people she can count on. What about counting on her own team? I am part of her team now. He'd said it with such certainty, such pride at being chosen. This is how you build a career, Brenda. You show up when it matters. Show up when it matters. The phrase had lodged itself in my brain, coming back to me every time he canceled dinner plans, every time he came home at 10 p.m. smelling of the expensive Italian restaurant near his office, every time he was too tired to talk about baby names or nursery colors or any of the things I desperately wanted to share with him. Last week, at my 33-week appointment, Dr. Reyes had asked if Jeremy would be at the birth. Of course, I'd said automatically, even though Jeremy wasn't at the appointment. He'd missed the last 4, actually. Important client meetings, always on Tuesday afternoons. The same Tuesday afternoons Crystal blocked on his calendar. Make sure he has his phone on, Dr. Reyes had said, making a note in my chart about my elevated blood pressure. With your numbers, we might need to induce early. These things can happen fast. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. I'd texted Jeremy that information. He'd responded with a thumbs up emoji. This morning, when I'd mentioned feeling off, a tightness in my abdomen, a pressure that seemed different from the usual late pregnancy discomfort, Jeremy had been putting on his tie. The navy one with the subtle pattern that Crystal had mentioned really worked with his eyes. Probably Braxton Hicks, he'd said, not looking up from his reflection in the hallway mirror. You're not due for 3 more weeks. The baby knows to wait for a better day than Tuesday. Babies don't check calendars, ja. Good thing you're at the hospital already then. If anything happens, you're literally at work. Couldn't be safer. He'd kissed my forehead again, that same distracted kiss that landed somewhere near my hairline. I'll have my phone on vibrate during the pitch, but try not to call unless it's an emergency. Try not to call unless it's an emergency. I'd watched him leave, his leather briefcase in one hand, the tumbler of coffee I'd made him in the other, whistling slightly as he headed to his car. To Crystal. To the pitch that mattered more than the possibility his wife might go into labor 3 weeks early. Now, lying here with monitors beeping and contractions coming faster, I think about all those Tuesday afternoons. All those missed dinners. All those times I'd convinced myself I was being unreasonable, that I should be supportive of his career, that a good wife doesn't complain when her husband is working hard to provide for their family. Except he wasn't working late. He was having 3-hour lunches at Marcello's with Crystal, charging them to the company card as client development. I know because I'd seen the credit card statements last month when I was organizing our files for the accountant. 12 Tuesday lunches at Marcello's. The same restaurant where he'd proposed to me 6 years ago, telling me it would always be our place. Apparently, it was now his and Crystal's place. The contraction monitor spikes again, and I grip the bed rail with both hands, breathing through the pain the way they taught us in the birthing class that Jeremy attended twice before deciding he got the gist of it and could skip the rest. Nurse Monica returns, checking my dilation, and her face shifts to professional urgency. Honey, we're at 7 centimeters. This baby is coming faster than we expected. Are you sure there's no one we can call? I look at my phone. No new messages. Jeremy is somewhere in a conference room with Crystal, probably laughing over coffee, running through slides one more time, completely unreachable even though his wife is about to give birth to his daughter. No, I tell Monica, and my voice sounds strange even to my own ears. Calm. Decided. Final. There's no one to call. The pain is extraordinary. Not in the way people warn you about, though it's certainly that too, but in how it clarifies everything. Each contraction strips away another layer of the careful excuses I've been making for Jeremy, leaving only the raw truth underneath. He isn't coming. He chose not to come. This isn't an emergency he doesn't know about. I told him, and he said no. Brenda, I need you to focus on your breathing, Monica says, her hand firm on my shoulder. You're tensing up, and that's making it harder. I try to breathe the way they taught us in class, in through the nose, out through the mouth, visualize opening like a flower. Jeremy had rolled his eyes at that instruction. Hippie nonsense, he'd whispered, making me giggle. Back when his jokes still felt like we were on the same team instead of him performing for an audience of one. Dr. Reyes appears at the foot of my bed, snapping on gloves with practiced efficiency. She's been my OB for 3 years, guided me through a miscarriage at 6 weeks 2 years ago, held my hand when I sobbed that maybe I wasn't meant to be a mother. She'd told me then that sometimes bodies need practice, that the next time would be different. She was right. This pregnancy has been textbook perfect until today. All right, Brenda, let's see where we are. She examines me quickly, and I watch her exchange a look with Monica. It's the kind of look medical professionals think patients don't notice, but I've worked in hospital administration long enough to recognize concern. You're at 9 centimeters. This baby is definitely coming today, and soon. How soon? My voice sounds small. I'd say within the hour. Maybe less. Dr. Reyes moves to wash her hands at the sink. Your blood pressure is still elevated. Not dangerously so, but we're monitoring it closely. If it spikes during delivery, we may need to intervene quickly. Intervene. Medical speak for things I don't want to think about. Has your husband arrived yet? Dr. Reyes asks, and there's something deliberate in her casual tone. She's asking because she looked at my chart, saw I came in alone, and now we're approaching the moment where I really shouldn't be alone. He's at work. Important meeting. The words taste like ash in my mouth. Dr. Reyes pauses in drying her hands. Brenda, I'm going to be very direct with you because we don't have time for anything else. You're about to deliver your first baby, your blood pressure is concerning, and you need someone here. Not for me, I've delivered hundreds of babies from women who came in alone. But for you. Is there anyone at all we can call? I think about my sister Alyssa, probably crying in her own empty house right now. My mother, who'd have to somehow get a last-minute flight. Sally, unreachable somewhere over the Atlantic. And Jeremy, sitting in a conference room that I can picture perfectly because I've picked him up from work enough times. The glass walls, the ergonomic chairs, the presentation screen where Crystal is probably standing right now in one of her precise designer suits, gesturing at slides about market penetration and projected growth. My best friend's husband, I hear myself say. Larry Jennings. He works downtown. Maybe 20 minutes away. Larry and Sally had been at our wedding. Their daughter is our daughter's designated godfather, though we haven't finalized the paperwork yet. Larry is the kind of steady, reliable person who shows up when you need him, the exact opposite of his wife's traveling schedule and, apparently, the exact opposite of my husband. That must be difficult, I said, maintaining the same tone I used with any customer discussing personal problems. Richard studied my face for a moment, perhaps looking for anger or satisfaction. He found neither. I had become very good at professional neutrality in the past month. He's been driving past the accident site, Richard added, the intersection where it happened. His mother thinks he's punishing himself. Monica already has her phone out. What's his number? I recite it from memory, and she steps away to make the call. I can hear her voice, professional but urgent, explaining the situation. A pause. Then, he says he's leaving right now. He'll be here in 15 minutes. Something in my chest loosens slightly. Not relief exactly, but the knowledge that I won't be completely alone. That someone thought this moment was worth interrupting their workday for, even if it wasn't my husband. Another contraction builds, stronger than the others, and this time I can't breathe through it. I hear a sound coming from my throat that doesn't sound human, and Monica is there immediately, coaching me through it. That's it, honey. You're doing so good. The baby's almost here. The baby. Our daughter. The tiny person who's been living inside me for 8 months, who I've talked to and sung to and promised 1,000 times that her daddy would love her so much. I'd been so sure of that. Jeremy had seemed excited about being a father, picked out her name, Emma, helped paint the nursery walls a soft yellow, even installed the car seat with meticulous attention to the instruction manual. But he's not here. And as another contraction tears through me, I realize something that makes the physical pain seem almost insignificant. Jeremy has made a choice about what kind of father he's going to be, and he made it before Emma even took her first breath. My phone buzzes on the side table. For one desperate second, I think it might be Jeremy, that maybe he's realized, that maybe he's on his way. Monica picks it up for me, and I see her face tighten. It's from Jeremy, she says carefully. Do you want me to read it? Yes. Her voice is flat. It says, how's it going? Crystal's presentation is going amazing. She absolutely crushed it. Might be done by 5 if you're still in labor. Keep me posted. The room goes very quiet. Even the machines seem to pause in their beeping. If you're still in labor. As if giving birth is something that might wrap up early, like a dentist appointment that runs ahead of schedule. As if I might just text back, false alarm, never mind, and we could both go about our days. Would you like me to respond? Monica asks, and there's an edge in her voice I haven't heard before. I think about what I want to say. I think about all the things I should have said months ago, when the Tuesday lunches started, when the text messages began arriving at midnight, when I first felt like a piece of furniture in my own marriage. Tell him, I say slowly, and my voice is steady despite the pain rolling through me in waves, that Emma will be here before he is. And that's something he'll have to live with. Monica types the message, hits send, and sets the phone face down on the table. Brenda, Dr. Reyes says from her position at the foot of my bed, it's time to push. Larry Jennings bursts through the door of labor and delivery room 7 looking like he ran the entire way from his office. His tie is askew, his usually neat hair standing up in spots, and he's slightly out of breath. He stops just inside the doorway, taking in the scene, me, pale and sweating, gripping the bed rails, the monitors beeping urgently, Dr. Reyes positioned and ready, Monica coaching me through breathing. I'm here, he says simply. Sally's on a plane over the Atlantic, but she made me promise to FaceTime her the second it's safe to. I'm your backup human, Brenda. What do you need? What I need is my husband. What I need is for the man who promised to love and cherish me to be standing where Larry is standing. But Larry is here, and Jeremy isn't, and right now that tells me everything I need to know about both men. Just, another contraction cuts off my words, and Larry moves immediately to the side of my bed opposite Monica, taking my hand without being asked. His grip is solid, grounding. I've got you, he says. Sally made me watch approximately 700 hours of birth videos when she was pregnant with Maggie. I'm basically an expert now. Despite everything, I almost laugh. Larry is a tax attorney who flinches at paper cuts. All right, Brenda, Dr. Reyes says, on the next contraction, I need you to push. Larry, you're going to help her curl forward. Monica will count to 10. Ready? The next contraction builds like a wave, and when it peaks, I push with everything I have. The pain is blinding, all-consuming, erasing everything except the need to get my daughter out, to meet her, to hold her. That's perfect. Dr. Reyes calls out. 2 more just like that, and we'll have a baby. Between contractions, my phone buzzes again. Monica glances at it, then at me, her expression carefully neutral. It's Jeremy. Should I read it? I gasp. Pitch went perfectly. Crystal got emotional at the end. We're celebrating with the team. This is huge for us. How much longer do you think? The room falls silent except for the monitors. Even Dr. Reyes looks up from her position, and I see something flash across her face. Anger, maybe. Or disgust. Larry's hand tightens on mine. Brenda, I'm going to say something, and you can tell me to shut up, but that man is making the biggest mistake of his life right now, and he doesn't even know it. Another contraction is building. I can feel it coming like thunder before a storm. One more big push, Dr. Reyes says. Come on, Brenda. Your daughter wants to meet you. I push, and this time I feel something shift, a release, and suddenly there's a sound, a cry, thin and reedy and absolutely perfect. Dr. Reyes lifts a tiny, wriggling person into my line of sight. It's a girl, she says unnecessarily, because I already knew that, we've known for months, but hearing it now makes it real in a way it wasn't before. Born at 4:37 p.m. They place Emma on my chest, this impossibly small human with dark hair plastered to her head and eyes squeezed shut against the brightness. She's screaming, her little fists waving, and she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Hi, baby, I whisper, and my voice breaks. Hi, Emma. I'm your mom. I've been waiting so long to meet you. Larry is crying. I look up and this 38-year-old tax attorney is standing there with tears running down his face, still holding my hand. She's perfect, he says thickly. Brenda, she's absolutely perfect. Monica is doing something with the cord, and Dr. Reyes is checking Emma's vitals, but all I can do is stare at my daughter. She's stopped crying now, making little mewing sounds, her tiny mouth working like she's trying to figure out what to do with it. Should I call Jeremy? Monica asks quietly, and it's clear from her tone that she'd rather eat glass. I look down at Emma, at this person who just entered the world without her father present because he was celebrating a business pitch with his VP. I think about what I want Emma to learn about self-worth, about what she should accept from the people who claim to love her, about what she deserves. No, I say, and my voice is clear. He can find out when he decides we're worth leaving Crystal's celebration for. Monica nods with satisfaction. I need to take Emma to get her measured and cleaned up. Just for a few minutes. Larry, you want to go with her? Make sure someone's there. Larry looks at me for permission. I nod, and he follows Monica to the warming station in the corner, standing guard over my daughter like he's been assigned the most important job in the world. Dr. Reyes is finishing up, and when it's just the two of us, she speaks quietly. Brenda, I've been doing this for 23 years. I've seen every configuration of family you can imagine. Single mothers, same-sex couples, grandparents, friends, even a few cases like this where the partner just doesn't show up. She pauses. The babies always know who was there. They don't remember it consciously, but somewhere deep, they know who showed up when it mattered. Jeremy's going to say I'm being dramatic about this, I hear myself say. That he had a work obligation he couldn't break. That I had medical professionals here, so what difference does it make? The difference, Dr. Reyes says, meeting my eyes, is that you now know exactly what his priorities are. And you can't unknow that. My phone buzzes again. Monica picks it up without asking, reads it, and her face goes hard. It's a photo, she says. Of Jeremy and a woman in a dark suit, holding champagne glasses. She's kissing his cheek. The caption says, Crystal says I'm her MVP. Couldn't have done it without you, partner. The room tilts slightly. Not from the epidural or blood loss, but from the sheer audacity of it. While I was pushing his daughter into the world, Jeremy was posing for celebration photos with Crystal Hastings. Send it to my sister, I tell Monica, and my voice sounds like it's coming from very far away. Alyssa Baker. She's in my contacts. Send it now. Monica does it without question. 30 seconds later, my phone rings. Alyssa. Put her on speaker, I say. Brenda, what the actual? Alyssa's voice is shaking with rage. Are you telling me that bastard is posting pictures with his VP while you're in labor? Was in labor. Emma's here. Born 16 minutes ago. Silence. Then, where is Jeremy? Celebrating. The pitch went well. I'm getting on a plane. Right now. I don't care about Blake or the separation or any of it. I'm coming there, and when Jeremy shows up, because he will eventually show up, I'm going to have some words for him. Alyssa. No. Don't you dare defend him. Don't you dare say it's fine or that you understand or that his career is important. You just gave birth without him because he chose to celebrate with another woman. That's not ambition. That's betrayal. The word hangs in the air. Betrayal. It feels too big and too small at the same time. Too big because it encompasses months of missed dinners and forgotten conversations and 1,000 small rejections. Too small because it doesn't capture the enormity of him not being here for this. Monica brings Emma back, now clean and wrapped in a pink hospital blanket, a tiny hat covering her dark hair. She places her in my arms, and Emma's eyes open, dark blue, unfocused, searching. Your daddy's going to regret this, I whisper to her. But I'm here. I'm right here, baby. And I'm never going to choose anything over you. Larry takes out his phone. Can I take a picture? For Sally? I nod, and he snaps a photo of me holding Emma, both of us looking at each other. He shows it to me before sending it. I look exhausted and pale, but my expression as I gaze at my daughter is pure love. That's going in a frame, Larry says. That's the first photo of Emma with the person who showed up. Jeremy finally walks through the door of my hospital room at 7:23 p.m., 2 hours and 46 minutes after his daughter was born. I know the exact time because I've been watching the clock, each minute that passed cementing something fundamental in my mind. He's still wearing the charcoal suit, though his tie is loosened now. His face is flushed, and I can smell the champagne from across the room. He's carrying a bouquet of roses, grocery store roses, the cheap kind with the plastic wrap still on, probably grabbed from the gift shop downstairs as an afterthought. There she is. His voice is too loud, too jovial, like he's arriving at a party rather than meeting his daughter for the first time. Sorry I'm late, babe. The celebration ran longer than expected, and then traffic was insane. How are my girls? My girls. Like he has any claim to that phrase. Like he earned the right to walk in here and act like a proud father. Larry is still in the corner chair, where he's been for the past 3 hours. He stands up slowly, and something in his posture makes Jeremy finally notice him. Larry? What are you doing here? Being here, Larry says simply. You know, for the birth of your daughter. The emphasis on the last part isn't subtle. Jeremy's smile falters. Well, yeah, I mean, thanks for keeping Brenda company, man. But I'm here now, so. He trails off, clearly expecting Larry to leave. Larry looks at me. I give a small nod, and he picks up his jacket. Congratulations, Jeremy, Larry says, and his tone is perfectly neutral. Emma is beautiful. Looks just like her mother. He pauses at the door. And for the record, watching your daughter being born was one of the greatest honors of my life. I'm sorry you missed it. The door closes behind him with a soft click that sounds deafening in the silence. Jeremy sets the flowers on the rolling table and moves toward where Emma is sleeping in the clear bassinet beside my bed. He reaches for her, and I hear my voice, sharp and clear. Don't. He freezes, hand outstretched. What? Don't touch her. Not yet. Brenda, what are you? She's my daughter. I want to hold her. She was your daughter at 4:37 p.m. when she was born. Where were you then? His face shifts through several expressions, confusion, defensiveness, finally landing on patronizing patience. Babe, we talked about this. The Singapore pitch was today. You knew how important it was. You're right. I did know. What I didn't know was that our daughter being born would rank below Crystal's celebratory champagne toast on your list of priorities. He has the grace to look uncomfortable. That's not fair. The pitch didn't end until almost 6. By the time we finished the debrief. She was born at 4:37, I repeat. You got my text at 2:30 telling you I was in active labor. That's 2 hours and 7 minutes, Jeremy. 2 hours where you knew your daughter was coming and you chose to stay in that conference room. I couldn't just walk out in the middle of the most important pitch of my career. Why not? The question clearly catches him off guard. What do you mean, why not? Crystal was counting on me. The whole team was there. The clients would have understood that your wife was giving birth. Any reasonable human being would have understood that. But you didn't even try, did you? You didn't say, my wife's in labor, I need to go. You stayed for the entire presentation, the Q&A, the celebration, the champagne, and the photos with Crystal kissing your cheek. His face goes pale. How did you? You posted it on Instagram, Jeremy. While I was pushing your daughter into the world, you were posing for victory photos with your VP. That's not, it wasn't like that. Crystal was just excited, and you let her kiss your cheek while your wife gave birth alone. You weren't alone. You had doctors, nurses. I had Larry. My voice is ice. Your daughter's first visitor wasn't her father. It was Larry Jennings, who dropped everything and ran across town because he understood that some moments you don't get back. Jeremy runs his hand through his hair, a gesture I've seen 1,000 times when he's frustrated. Okay, look, I'm sorry. I should have left earlier. I made a judgment call, and maybe it was the wrong one. But I'm here now. Can we please just move forward? A judgment call, I repeat slowly. You judged that Crystal's pitch meeting was more important than being here when your first child was born. I told you she was having a crisis. The pressure she's under. What crisis, Jeremy? What specific crisis required you to miss your daughter's birth? He opens his mouth, then closes it. Opens it again. She needed support. The presentation was make or break for her career. And our marriage? Was that not make or break? Don't be dramatic, Brenda. One missed appointment doesn't. Appointment? The word comes out as almost a laugh. You think our daughter being born was an appointment? Like a dentist visit that I can reschedule? That's not what I meant. What did you mean? Explain it to me, because I'm genuinely trying to understand how a grown man decides that being present for his child's birth is optional. Jeremy's face is red now, his patient tone giving way to defensiveness. You know what? I've been working 60-hour weeks to provide for this family. Crystal has given me opportunities that will set us up for years. I'm sorry I couldn't be in two places at once, but somebody has to think about our financial future. Our financial future. I look down at Emma, sleeping peacefully despite her father's raised voice. We have $140,000 in savings, Jeremy. I've been working full-time throughout this entire pregnancy. We own our condo outright, a gift from my parents. We're not struggling. You didn't miss Emma's birth because we needed the money. You missed it because Crystal Hastings wanted you there more than you wanted to be here. That's not, you're twisting this. My phone buzzes on the side table. Then again. And again. Jeremy's phone starts buzzing too. Then the room phone rings. Monica appears in the doorway, her expression strange. Brenda, I need to tell you something. The hospital security footage from the main entrance, someone posted it online. It's going viral. Jeremy and I both grab our phones. My screen is filled with notifications, texts, tags, messages. I open Instagram and there it is, trending. The video is from the hospital's exterior security camera, timestamped 4:41 p.m., for minutes after Emma was born. It shows Larry running across the parking lot, his tie flying behind him, his jacket half off. The camera has sound, and you can hear him shouting at someone to hold the elevator. The caption, posted by someone who works in the hospital administration, someone I've never met but who apparently witnessed what happened, reads, "This man ran from downtown to be there for his friend's birth because her husband was at a business dinner. This is Larry. Larry showed up. The actual father? Still not here an hour later. Hashtag Larry showed up." The video already has 2.3 million views. And in the comments, screenshot after screenshot of Jeremy's Instagram post, him and Crystal, champagne glasses raised, her lips on his cheek, timestamped 4:52 p.m. 15 minutes after his daughter was born. Someone had matched the timestamps. The internet had done the math. And now the world knew exactly what kind of father Jeremy had chosen to be. Jeremy's face has gone from red to white as he scrolls through his phone, watching his Instagram post get ripped apart in real time. The comments are brutal, surgical in their precision. You posted a celebration photo at 4:52 p.m.? Your wife gave birth at 4:37. That's 15 minutes. You couldn't wait 15 minutes? Imagine being this baby girl and finding this footage when you're older. Imagine knowing your dad chose champagne over being there when you were born. That VP is kissing a married man whose wife just gave birth. And he's smiling. I'm disgusted. Hashtag Larry showed up is my new standard for men. If he can't be Larry, I don't want him. My phone won't stop buzzing. Text after text coming through. Alyssa, Brenda. The video. I'm at the airport. Tell me you're seeing this. Sally, somehow connected to Wi-Fi over the Atlantic. Larry is a hero and your husband is trash. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. My mother, Brenda Jean, I'm watching a video of Larry running to the hospital. Where is Jeremy? Call me right now. And then, a message from a number I don't recognize. Hi Brenda, this is Gretchen Salvatore. We met at the hospital fundraiser last year. I work in HR at Kendrick & Associates. I need to talk to you about Crystal Hastings. It's important. Can you call me? Before I can process that, Monica reappears with her tablet. Brenda, there's more footage. The hospital admin is debating whether to release it, but I think you should see it first. She turns the tablet toward me. It's interior footage from the hospital lobby, time-stamped 5:47 p.m. The camera shows Jeremy walking through the main entrance, not running, not hurried, stopping at the gift shop, browsing the flowers for a full 3 minutes before selecting the cheapest bouquet. Then he stands in the lobby, checking his phone, typing something, actually smiling at the screen. He wasn't rushing to meet Emma. He was texting. Probably with Crystal. There's audio, Monica says quietly, and turns up the volume. Jeremy's voice, talking on his phone, yeah, I'm at the hospital now. I know, I left as soon as I could. The baby's already here, so I missed the main event, but... yeah, I'll smooth it over. Brenda will understand. She always does. He laughed. On the phone, standing in the lobby of the hospital where his wife had just given birth without him, he laughed. Monica stops the video. Administration wanted you to know this exists before they make any decisions about what to do with it. Jeremy is staring at his phone like it's a bomb about to explode. Brenda, listen, you have to tell them not to release that footage. This is getting out of hand. My career, Crystal is already getting death threats. This is affecting the company. Crystal is getting death threats? The words taste strange in my mouth. Yes. People are calling her a homewrecker, saying she ruined our family. This mob mentality is insane. Is she? I ask quietly. A homewrecker? What? No. She's my colleague. My work partner. This is exactly the kind of dramatic overreaction I was worried about. My phone rings. It's the unknown number, Gretchen Salvatore. I answer, putting it on speaker before Jeremy can stop me. Brenda? This is Gretchen from Kendrick and Associates HR. I'm calling because the viral video has created a situation, and I think you deserve to know the truth about what's been happening. Jeremy moves toward my phone. You don't need to listen to this. Don't touch my phone, I say, and something in my voice stops him. Go ahead, Gretchen. Crystal Hastings and Jeremy have been having an affair for 5 months. I've been documenting it because Crystal is my supervisor, and she's been using company resources to facilitate it. The Tuesday strategy sessions are at a hotel. The Belmont, specifically. Room 447, booked under the company account as Client Entertainment. The room goes completely silent except for the sound of monitors beeping. I have expense reports, security logs from the hotel, text messages that were accidentally CC'd to me. Crystal has been billing the company for what she calls team building with key consultants, but Jeremy is the only consultant who attends these sessions. Every Tuesday for 5 months. Jeremy's face has gone gray. Gretchen, you can't, this is a violation of privacy. It's a violation of company policy, Jeremy. And it's fraud. Using corporate funds for personal affairs is grounds for immediate termination and possible legal action. I've been building this case for 2 months, waiting for the right time to present it to the board. Why are you telling me this? I ask, and my voice sounds distant to my own ears. Because the viral video has forced the board's hand. There's going to be an emergency meeting tomorrow morning. Crystal and Jeremy are both being investigated. I wanted you to know before it becomes public that your husband hasn't just been absent, he's been actively deceiving you and stealing from the company to do it. Jeremy lunges for my phone, but I pull it away. How do I know you're telling the truth? I'm emailing you right now. Check your inbox. I open my email on my laptop, the one I brought to track contractions and birth updates. There, from Gretchen Salvatore's official Kendrick and Associates email address, is a file labeled Evidence, Hastings/Baker Investigation. I open it. The first document is a hotel receipt from the Belmont, dated 3 weeks ago. Tuesday, 2 p.m. check-in, 6 p.m. checkout. Room 447. Guest name, Crystal Hastings. Charged to Kendrick and Associates corporate account. Purpose listed, client development meeting with J. Baker. The second document is a text message screenshot, clearly taken from someone's forwarded email. Crystal to Jeremy, Tuesday can't come fast enough. I need you. Room 447, same as always. Bring the thing I like from that bakery on 5th. I know that bakery. I've ordered Jeremy's birthday cakes from there for 4 years. The third document is a photograph, clearly taken from a distance with a phone camera, slightly blurry but unmistakable. Jeremy and Crystal in the hotel lobby. His hand is on her lower back. She's leaning into him. The timestamp reads 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday 6 weeks ago, the same Tuesday I had my 30-week ultrasound appointment that Jeremy said he couldn't attend because of an all-day strategy intensive. There are 43 more documents in that file, Gretchen says. Receipts, messages, photos, witness statements from hotel staff. I'm sorry you're finding out this way, but better now than after you've spent weeks defending him. Jeremy is backing toward the door. Brenda, she's misinterpreting everything. Those meetings were legitimate. The hotel has surveillance footage, Gretchen continues. Would you like me to tell her what it shows, Jeremy, or would you prefer to? He stops moving. The footage shows you and Crystal entering room 447 together at 2:13 p.m. on March 19th. You didn't leave until 5:47 p.m. 3.5 hours, Jeremy. That's not a strategy meeting. My hands are shaking as I scroll through the documents. 43 pieces of evidence that my husband has been lying to me for 5 months. That every Tuesday lunch was actually a Tuesday afternoon at a hotel. That Crystal's crises weren't crises at all, they were scheduled appointments. That I'd been going to prenatal appointments alone, preparing a nursery alone, going to bed alone, all while Jeremy was in room 447 of the Belmont with his VP. Brenda, Jeremy says, and his voice is desperate now. Please. Let me explain. It's not what you think. Get out, I say quietly. What? Get out of this room. Go back to Crystal. Go back to room 447. Go anywhere but here. You can't kick me out. Emma is my daughter. Emma, I say, looking down at her sleeping face, deserves a father who shows up. You're not him. You might be biologically related to her, but you're not her father. Fathers show up, Jeremy. Larry showed up. You chose a hotel room. The door opens, and Monica appears with hospital security. Mr. Baker, I need you to leave. You're upsetting the patient, and she needs rest. This is insane. I have a right to see my daughter. Actually, Gretchen's voice comes through the phone, still on speaker. You might want to check your email, Jeremy. Legal just served you with a cease and desist. You're not to contact anyone at Kendrick and Associates, including Crystal, pending the investigation. You're on immediate suspension without pay. Jeremy's phone buzzes. He looks at it, and I watch his face crumble. Security escorts him out. His expensive Italian shoes squeaking on the linoleum. The smell of champagne lingering even after he's gone. I look at my daughter, at Emma, who slept through her father's exposure and removal. And I realize that Gretchen was right, better to know now than to spend years wondering why Tuesday always felt wrong. Alyssa arrives at 6:47 a.m. the next morning, looking like she drove through the night, which, according to the text she sent at 2 a.m., she did. She bursts into my hospital room carrying 2 coffees, a bag from the good bagel place downtown, and an expression that could cut glass. Where is he? Are her first words. Gone. Security escorted him out last night. She sets down the coffee and bagels, then wraps me in a careful hug that avoids jostling Emma, who's nursing for the first time with surprising determination. Good. I was prepared to commit a felony, but this is better. She pulls back to look at Emma, and her face transforms. Oh, Brenda. She's perfect. Look at those cheeks. She looks like Mom did in her baby pictures. She does. Alyssa strokes Emma's tiny hand with one finger. She also looks like she has no patience for nonsense, which she clearly inherited from you. Monica appears in the doorway with a knowing smile. Brenda, there's a Richie Jennings here to see you. Says he's your attorney. Alyssa and I exchange glances. Larry called in reinforcements, she says with satisfaction. Richie Jennings, Larry's older brother, one of the most ruthless family law attorneys in the state, walks in carrying a leather briefcase that probably costs more than my car. He's 52, silver-haired, and has the kind of commanding presence that makes people sit up straighter. Brenda Baker, he says, his voice warm despite the early hour. Larry told me about yesterday. I've taken the liberty of drawing up some preliminary paperwork. Do you have 10 minutes? I have all day. I'm not going anywhere. He pulls a chair close to my bed and opens his briefcase with practiced efficiency. First, congratulations on Emma. Larry sent me about 40 photos. She's beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for coming. Larry's my baby brother. When he calls at midnight saying his best friend's wife needs a lawyer immediately, I listen. He pulls out a stack of documents. I've prepared 3 things. First, a temporary restraining order preventing Jeremy from entering your home or this hospital room without your explicit written permission. Given what happened last night and the evidence of the affair, a judge will sign this today. That fast? The viral video helped. Half the state watched your husband prioritize his mistress over your daughter's birth. Public sentiment is a powerful tool, and right now, you have all of it. He slides the first document toward me. Second, I've drafted divorce papers. You don't have to file immediately, but having them ready gives you control of the timeline. You file when you're ready, not when he forces your hand. I look at the papers. Petition for dissolution of marriage, Baker versus Baker. 6 years, reduced to a legal filing. Third, Richie continues, and this is the interesting part. Gretchen Salvatore contacted me this morning. She's willing to testify about the affair and provide all 43 pieces of evidence she collected. More importantly, Kendrick and Associates is terminating both Jeremy and Crystal this afternoon. The board voted at 7 a.m. this morning, unanimous decision. Using company funds for an affair is grounds for immediate termination and possible criminal charges for fraud. Criminal charges? They spent approximately $47,000 in company money on hotel rooms, dinners, and business expenses that were actually affair maintenance. That's not just firing territory, that's prosecutor territory. He leans back. Now, the company wants to settle this quietly. They're offering you a deal. What kind of deal? They know Jeremy has no income now and likely won't find comparable work after this scandal. They're concerned you'll sue for loss of consortium, intentional infliction of emotional distress, possibly more. Their legal team is very nervous about your position. My position? Brenda, you just gave birth alone while your husband committed corporate fraud with his mistress. You're sympathetic, wronged, and you have viral video evidence. You're a lawyer's dream client. He smiles slightly. They want to offer you $150,000 in exchange for signing a non-disparagement agreement about the company's role in facilitating the affair. I blink. They want to pay me to not sue them? Essentially, yes. They're claiming they had no knowledge of the affair until Gretchen's investigation, but their policies were lax enough to allow it to continue for 5 months. A good attorney, which I am, could argue they created an environment that enabled this behavior. Is $150,000 a fair offer? It's low. I'd get you $300,000 without breaking a sweat. But it's immediate money, and immediate money means immediate freedom. You could take it and walk away clean, or we could fight for more and be tied up in litigation for a year. Alyssa, who's been silent through this whole exchange, speaks up. What does your gut say? I look down at Emma, now asleep against my chest, milk-drunk and peaceful. I think about the condo we own, my parents' wedding gift, solely in my name. I think about the $140,000 in savings, half of which is mine. I think about my job at the hospital, the one I've maintained throughout this entire pregnancy, the one with good benefits and security. Take the $150,000, I say. I don't want to be tied to Jeremy or that company any longer than necessary. I want this done. Richie nods approvingly. Smart. I'll have them wire the funds directly to your personal account, not the joint account. Speaking of which, I need you to sign this authorization to freeze the joint account pending divorce proceedings. It prevents Jeremy from draining it out of spite or desperation. I sign it without hesitation. Last thing, Richie says, pulling out his phone. I need you to decide what to do about the security footage. The hospital called me at 6 a.m. They've had 17 media requests for the interior footage, the part where Jeremy is in the lobby, on the phone, saying you'd understand because you always do. The memory of those words makes my stomach turn. If they release it, Richie continues, it will destroy any remaining public sympathy for Jeremy. But it will also make this more public than it already is. Emma will grow up with this footage available online. You need to decide if that's what you want. I think about Emma at 10, at 15, at 20. What do I want her to know about this moment? Release it, I say. Not because I want to hurt Jeremy, but because I want the truth documented. I want Emma to know, when she's old enough to understand, that I didn't hide what happened. That I didn't protect a man who didn't protect us. Alyssa squeezes my hand. Richie makes a note. I'll inform the hospital. The footage will be released this afternoon with a statement emphasizing patient privacy and the extraordinary circumstances. He starts packing up his briefcase. Brenda, you're going to be fine. Better than fine. You have a clear path forward, financial security, and, most importantly, you have your daughter. After he leaves, Alyssa helps me shift Emma to the bassinet and climbs carefully onto the hospital bed beside me. You know what I realized, she says. When Blake left me last month, I thought my life was ending. I thought I couldn't survive without him. But watching you yesterday, watching you give birth and make decisions and protect Emma, I realized we're stronger than we've been taught to believe. I don't feel strong. I feel exhausted. Strength and exhaustion aren't mutually exclusive. She looks at Emma. That little girl is going to grow up knowing her mother didn't settle for scraps. That's the strongest thing you could teach her. My phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number, but the area code is local. Brenda, this is Crystal Hastings. I need to talk to you. Please. Jeremy has been lying to both of us. I didn't know about half of what he told me. Can we meet? I show the text to Alyssa, who reads it and snorts. Absolutely not. She wants absolution, and you're not a priest. What should I say? Nothing. Let her sit with what she's done. You don't owe her closure. I delete the message without responding. At 2 p.m., Monica comes in with her tablet. The footage went live 10 minutes ago. It already has 1 million views. She shows me the comments, and they're even more brutal than before. She'll understand because she always does. That's the sound of a man who's been getting away with everything for years. He's in the gift shop for 3 minutes. His wife just gave birth and he's comparison shopping for roses. The way he's smiling at his phone while his newborn daughter is upstairs. I'm sick. My phone starts buzzing with news outlet requests. CNN, Good Morning America, local stations. Everyone wants the woman from the viral video. What do you want to do? Alyssa asks. I look at Emma, at this tiny person who will grow up in a world where her birth story is public knowledge. I want to go home, I say. I want to take my daughter to the nursery we built, and I want to start our life. Without Jeremy. Without Crystal. Without any of this. Then that's what we'll do, Alyssa says. Tomorrow morning. Fresh start. The doorbell camera alert pings on my phone at 9:17 a.m., 3 days after Emma and I came home from the hospital. I'm in the nursery, changing Emma's diaper while she makes those little grunting sounds that still amaze me, when I see Jeremy's face appear on my screen. He looks terrible. His usually neat hair is greasy and uncombed, his shirt wrinkled, and there are dark circles under his eyes that suggest he hasn't slept in days. Behind him, I can see his mother's silver Lexus parked in the driveway. Of course he brought Patricia Baxter. His mother has been cleaning up his messes since he was 6 years old. I don't answer the door. Instead, I watch through the camera as he rings the bell again, then knocks. Patricia appears beside him, her perfectly styled blonde hair unmoved by the morning breeze, her expression carved from marble. "Brenda." Jeremy calls out, his voice carrying through the camera's audio. "I know you're in there. Your car's in the garage. Please, we need to talk about this like adults." Adults. The same word he'd used in the hospital when he wanted to minimize what he'd done. Patricia leans toward the camera, as if she can see me through it. "Brenda, dear, this has all gotten quite out of hand. Jeremy made a mistake, but he's still Emma's father. We need to discuss a reasonable arrangement." I press the intercom button. "You can speak to my attorney, Richie Jennings. His number is on the restraining order you were both served yesterday." "A restraining order?" Patricia's voice rises. "Against the baby's father? That's absurdly dramatic, even for you. Even for me. As if I have a history of dramatics, rather than a history of accommodating Jeremy's every whim for 6 years. "The restraining order stands," I say calmly. "You have no legal right to be on this property. If you don't leave, I'll call the police." "Brenda, please." Jeremy's voice cracks. "I made a mistake. I know that now. But she's my daughter. I have rights. You had the right to be there when she was born. You chose a hotel room instead." Patricia's face hardens. "That's quite enough. Jeremy's explained the situation to me. That woman, Crystal, she manipulated him. Pursued him relentlessly. He was trying to handle a difficult situation professionally, and she took advantage." "Mrs. Baxter," I interrupt, "I have 43 pieces of evidence showing your son checked into a hotel room with Crystal Hastings every Tuesday for 5 months. That's not being manipulated. That's a standing appointment." The silence that follows is profound. "Hotel room?" Patricia's voice is faint. She turns to Jeremy. "You told me it was business dinners." Jeremy's face flushes. "Mom, it's more complicated than. You told me that woman was pursuing you. That you were trying to maintain professional boundaries." Patricia's composure is cracking, her voice getting sharper. "You said the viral video was taken out of context." "It was. Brenda's making it sound worse than. She gave birth without you, Jeremy." Patricia's voice rises to a pitch I've never heard from her. "You missed the birth of your first child to celebrate with your mistress." "I've seen the video. The entire country has seen the video. The timestamp doesn't lie. I was trying to protect my career. Our financial future. You were fired 3 days ago for fraud." Patricia's perfect facade is completely gone now. "The board called me personally. Did you think I wouldn't find out? That you and that woman stole $47,000 from the company?" Through the camera, I watched Jeremy's face crumble. He hasn't told his mother the extent of it. "It wasn't stealing," he says weakly. "It was business expenses. For hotel rooms? For a 5-month affair?" Patricia turns to face the camera directly. "Brenda, I owe you an apology. I raised a man who doesn't understand responsibility or loyalty. I made excuses for him his entire life, and this is the result." I press the intercom again, startled by her words. "Mrs. Baxter. When Jeremy told me you'd overreacted to him missing the birth, I believed him. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry." She turns back to Jeremy. "Get in the car. Now. Mom, I need to see Emma. You need to speak to a lawyer and figure out how you're going to support your daughter with no job and no prospects. Move." Jeremy looks at the camera one more time, his expression desperate. "Brenda, please. I love you. I love Emma. I made a mistake, but... A mistake is forgetting to buy milk, Patricia says coldly. This is a choice. You made a choice every Tuesday for 5 months. Now live with it. She walks back to the Lexus, and after a moment, Jeremy follows. I watch them drive away, then check my other camera, the one covering the back entrance. Empty. They're really gone. My phone rings immediately. Alyssa. Did you see? I saw. Patricia Baxter just apologized to me. Hell has frozen over. Alert the media. I carry Emma to the living room, where the morning light is streaming through windows that no longer have Jeremy's heavy curtains blocking them. I'd taken them down yesterday, replaced them with simple white sheers that let the sun in. The whole house feels lighter without his things, the expensive artwork he'd insisted on, the leather furniture he'd bought without asking me, the golf trophies displayed like they meant something. In 3 days, Alyssa and I had transformed the space. His office was now a playroom. His meditation corner, that he'd used exactly twice, was now a reading nook. The master bedroom, our bedroom, was now just mine, with new bedding in colors I'd actually chosen. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I open it. Brenda, this is Blake Salvatore. Alyssa's husband. Ex-husband. Whatever. I saw the video. I saw what Jeremy did. I'm texting because I did something similar to Alyssa, not an affair, but I prioritized work over her for years. Watching your situation made me realize what I destroyed. I know she won't talk to me, but could you tell her I understand now? That she deserves better than what I gave her? I screenshot the message and send it to Alyssa with the caption, "Your ex-husband is having an epiphany via my viral scandal." Her response is immediate, "Too little, too late. But tell him thanks for the validation." Another text arrives, this one from Gretchen Salvatore. "Brenda, the settlement check cleared. $150,000 in your personal account as of 10 a.m. this morning. Also, Crystal was escorted from her apartment this morning by 2 police officers. She's being charged with fraud. Jeremy will likely be charged next week. Thought you should know." I look down at Emma, sleeping peacefully in my arms. In 3 days, my entire life has restructured itself. Jeremy is gone. Crystal is facing criminal charges. The company has paid me to go away quietly. Patricia Baxter has apologized, something I never thought I'd witness. And I'm here, in a house that's finally mine, with a daughter who will never remember the day she was born, but who will grow up knowing her mother didn't accept less than she deserved. My doorbell rings again. This time it's Larry, visible on the camera, holding a casserole dish. I buzz him in. "Sally's recipe," he says, handing me the dish. "She's back from London tonight, but she wanted me to bring this over. Also, I'm supposed to check that you have enough diapers and tell you that you're a hero to women everywhere." Her words, not mine, though I agree. I'm not a hero, Larry. I'm just a woman who drew a line and held it. In my book, that's heroic. He looks down at Emma. "How's our girl?" "Our girl. Not Jeremy's girl. Not even just my girl." Larry has claimed uncle status, and somehow it feels more legitimate than Jeremy's biological claim to fatherhood. "She's perfect. Sleeping 4-hour stretches at night, which apparently makes me the luckiest new mother alive. You deserve some luck." He glances around the transformed living room. Place looks different. I took down Jeremy's things. Made it mine. Good. He sets the casserole in the kitchen. "Sally wants to know if you need anything." And by anything, she means specifically, "Do you want me to key Jeremy's car?" which I told her was illegal, but she said to ask anyway. Despite everything, I laugh. "Tell Sally I appreciate the offer but no. Jeremy's creating his own consequences just fine without help." After Larry leaves, I sit in my reading nook, the space that used to be Jeremy's meditation corner, and feed Emma while watching the street outside. It's a Thursday afternoon. Exactly 1 week ago, Jeremy was at the Belmont in room 447 with Crystal Hastings while I was at home, preparing for a daughter he wasn't present enough to meet. Now he's unemployed, facing criminal charges, and living with his mother. And I'm here, in my home, with my daughter, finally understanding what freedom tastes like. 2 weeks after Emma's birth, Sally appears at my door with wine, food, and the kind of expression that means she has gossip. I wasn't going to tell you this, she says, setting everything on my kitchen counter, but Larry said you'd want to know. Know what? Jeremy's been showing up at Riverside Coffee every morning at 7. The one near his old office. Apparently he sits there for hours with 1 cup of coffee, watching people go to work, looking like a kicked dog. I'm washing bottles at the sink, Emma asleep in her bouncer nearby. The information lands with less impact than Sally probably expected. How do you know this? My assistant's sister works there. She recognized him from the viral video. Said he tried to explain himself to her yesterday, the whole "media took it out of context" speech. She told him his coffee was getting cold and walked away. I dry a bottle carefully. Is he living with Patricia? For now. But apparently she's making his life miserable. Larry heard from his country club friend, you know how gossip travels, that Patricia has him on a schedule. Therapy 3 times a week, job applications every morning, and he has to be home by 9 p.m. She's treating him like a teenager who violated curfew. Good. Sally pulls out plates. There's more. Crystal Hastings hired Mitchell Barnes as her defense attorney. I recognize the name. Mitchell Barnes is the kind of lawyer who gets white-collar criminals reduced sentences by painting them as victims of circumstance. Is it working? Not so far. The evidence is too clear. Gretchen's documentation is airtight, every hotel receipt, every falsified expense report, every text message. The prosecutor is pushing for felony fraud charges because of the amount involved. And Jeremy? Can't afford Mitchell Barnes. He's using a public defender. Sally starts dishing out pad thai. Apparently Patricia offered to pay for a better lawyer, but only if he agreed to her conditions: total transparency about the affair, regular therapy, and complete honesty about everything. He refused. He refused his mother's help. Said she was trying to control him. Patricia told him that if he wanted to make his own decisions, he could fund his own defense. Sally shakes her head. Larry says Patricia is done enabling him. Watching that viral video was her wake-up call. My phone buzzes. Another news alert. The story has stayed in the cycle longer than I expected, each day bringing new angles. Today's headline: former VP Crystal Hastings claims she was led on by married colleague. I open the article. Crystal gave an interview to a women's magazine, positioning herself as the other victim in this situation. According to her statement, Jeremy had told her his marriage was essentially over, that I was cold and unsupportive, and that we were only staying together until after the baby was born. He said his wife didn't understand him. Crystal is quoted as saying that she was focused on the baby and had no interest in his career ambitions. I believed I was offering support to someone going through a difficult transition. Sally reads over my shoulder and makes a disgusted sound. She's trying to make herself sympathetic. It won't work. The timestamps don't lie. Speaking of which, Sally pulls up her phone. Have you seen the counter-response? She shows me a Twitter thread that's gone viral, posted by someone called at Hospital Brenda Support. Crystal Hastings says she was led on. Let's examine the timeline. April 15th, Brenda has 20-week anatomy scan alone. Jeremy is at strategy session. April 29th, Brenda's baby shower. Jeremy arrives 2 hours late. May 6th, hotel receipt for room 447, 2 to 6 p.m. May 13th, Brenda hospitalized for preterm labor scare. Jeremy doesn't visit. May 20th, hotel receipt. May 27th, hotel receipt. The thread continues, detailing every Tuesday hotel visit alongside every pregnancy milestone Jeremy missed. It's comprehensive, damning, and apparently sourced from court filings that are now public record. The internet is keeping receipts, Sally says. Crystal's PR strategy is backfiring. 3 weeks later, I'm at Emma's first pediatrician appointment when I run into someone I never expected to see, Jeremy's father, Richard Baker. Richard and Patricia divorced when Jeremy was 12. He remarried, moved to Seattle, and I've seen him exactly 3 times in 6 years, twice at Christmas, once at our wedding. He's in town on business, apparently, and just happened to be at the same medical building. Brenda, he says, and there's genuine warmth in his voice. I was hoping to run into you. How's Emma? Perfect. Growing like a weed. May I? He gestures to the carrier. I nod, and he peers at Emma's sleeping face. She looks like you. That's good. The comment hangs there. I saw the video, he continues. All of them. Patricia sent me the evidence file too, wanted me to know what our son became. What he became? I left Patricia because she made excuses for everything Jeremy did. Every failed grade, every lie, every time he hurt someone, she smoothed it over, fixed it, made it disappear. I told her she was raising a man who would never face consequences. He straightens up. I was right, but I left anyway. That makes me complicit. Mr. Baker. Richard, please. I'm not here to ask for anything. I just wanted you to know that I'm setting up a trust fund for Emma. Managed by an independent trustee, no access for Jeremy. She'll have it when she turns 25. It's not much, about $50,000, but it's something. I'm stunned. You don't have to. Yes, I do. I failed as a father, which means I failed as a grandfather before I even met her. This is the least I can do. He pulls out a business card. My attorney will contact you about the paperwork. No strings, no conditions. Just a grandfather trying to do one thing right. After he leaves, I sit in my car for a long moment, Emma starting to wake up in her car seat. The ripples keep spreading, Patricia's transformation, Richard's guilt, Crystal's failed PR campaign, Jeremy's slow collapse. 1 month after Emma's birth, Gretchen Salvatore calls with an update. Crystal took a plea deal, she says. 2 years probation, $30,000 restitution to the company, and she has to surrender her business license for 5 years. She can't work in consulting or any position of corporate authority. And Jeremy? Trial is set for August. His public defender is trying to negotiate a plea, but the prosecutor isn't budging. They want to make an example, show that corporate fraud has real consequences. How's he doing? Why do you ask? Gretchen's tone is curious, not judgmental. I don't know. Morbid curiosity, maybe. He's diminished. I saw him at a pre-trial hearing last week. He's lost weight, looks exhausted. Patricia sat in the back row, but she didn't sit with him. When the judge asked if he understood the charges, his voice was barely audible. I thank Gretchen and hang up. Emma needs to be fed, and I need to start preparing her bottles for daycare tomorrow, my first day back at work, part-time to start. That evening, Alyssa comes over with her laptop. You need to see this. It's a Reddit thread titled, Whatever Happened to That Guy Who Missed His Daughter's Birth, with over 10,000 comments. People have been following the story, tracking court filings, sharing updates. The top comment reads, "This is what happens when you think the rules don't apply to you." He lost his wife, his daughter, his career, and his freedom because he couldn't leave a celebration early. And the woman he chose? She sold him out in her plea deal. Testified that he was the one who falsified the expense reports. He has nothing now. Is it true? Alyssa asks. Did Crystal testify against him? According to Gretchen, yes. Part of her plea deal was cooperating fully with Jeremy's prosecution. So he lost everything for someone who turned on him the moment it served her interest. Yes. Alyssa closes the laptop. Good. Is that wrong to say? Am I supposed to feel sorry for him? I look at Emma, now 6 weeks old, smiling at me from her playmat. She has no idea her birth story is a cautionary tale shared across the internet. She doesn't know her father chose a hotel room over being there when she entered the world. I don't feel sorry for him, I say honestly. I feel sorry for the person I was, the woman who made excuses for him, who believed his career was more important than her needs. But Jeremy? He made his choices. Now he's living with them. 6 months after Emma's birth, I find myself standing at the intersection near Mercy Heights Medical Center on a Tuesday afternoon. It's the same route I drove that day in labor, gripping the steering wheel through contractions, texting Jeremy updates he never read with any urgency. Today, the sun is shining. Emma is strapped to my chest in a carrier, making soft cooing sounds as she watches the world with her dark blue eyes that everyone says look just like mine. I'm meeting Sally and Larry for lunch, a standing Tuesday appointment we've maintained since I went back to work. Tuesday used to be the day I dreaded. The day Jeremy disappeared into his strategy sessions with Crystal. Now it's the day I reclaim as mine. My phone buzzes. It's a notification from the court system. Jeremy's sentencing was this morning. I'd been invited to provide a victim impact statement, but I'd declined. I had nothing left to say to him that hadn't already been said by his choices. I opened the notification anyway. 18 months in minimum security, 3 years probation, $47,000 restitution to Kendrick and Associates, and mandatory counseling. The judge's statement is attached. Mr. Baker's actions demonstrate a pattern of prioritizing personal gratification over basic human decency and professional ethics. While the financial fraud is serious, what's most troubling is his complete absence during his daughter's birth, a moment he can never reclaim. This court hopes he uses his time to reflect on the person he wants to be versus the person he has shown himself to be. I close the notification and keep walking. Sally and Larry are already at the cafe when I arrive, sitting at an outdoor table. Sally immediately reaches for Emma, who goes willingly into her arms. "How's my goddaughter?" Sally coos, and Emma responds with a gummy smile that makes all three of us melt. Sleeping through the night, eating like a champion, and according to her pediatrician, hitting every milestone early. Obviously, Larry says. She has good genes. Her mother's genes. We order lunch, and the conversation flows easily. Sally's latest work trip, Larry's new case, my recent promotion to senior administrator at the hospital. Normal things. Good things. A Tuesday afternoon that belongs to us. Have you seen it? Sally asks after the food arrives, her tone careful. The sentencing? Yes. 18 months. How do you feel about it? I consider the question while cutting my sandwich into smaller pieces, one hand on Emma's carrier. I don't feel anything, really. It's just information. Jeremy is becoming someone I used to know, like a character from a book I read years ago. That's healthy, Larry says. Or at least that's what my therapist would say if I had one. You should get one, Sally tells him. Everyone should have a therapist. Brenda has one. She's right. I started seeing Dr. Michelle Hastings 3 months ago, working through 6 years of accommodation, people-pleasing, and believing that making myself smaller would make Jeremy love me more. Dr. Hastings says I'm graduating soon, I say. Not from therapy entirely, but from the intensive phase. She thinks I've done the work. What work? Larry asks. Learning that I didn't cause Jeremy's choices. That his affair wasn't a reflection of my worth. That being a good partner doesn't mean accepting less than I deserve. I look down at Emma, who's fallen asleep against my chest. And learning that I'm enough. Just me. Without having to earn love by being useful or accommodating or invisible. Sally reaches across the table to squeeze my hand. You were always enough, Brenda. You just forgot for a while. After lunch, I walk through the park near my condo, the one with the duck pond and the walking path that loops around for exactly a mile. It's become my routine with Emma, this Tuesday afternoon walk after lunch with Sally and Larry. I pass other mothers with strollers, joggers, an elderly couple feeding the ducks. Normal life, the kind I'd forgotten existed during those years of waiting for Jeremy to come home, to pay attention, to choose me. My phone rings. It's Alyssa. Blake signed the divorce papers, she says, and I can hear the smile in her voice. Didn't even negotiate. His lawyer said he watched what happened with Jeremy and realized he didn't want to become that story. How do you feel? Free. Lighter. Like I'd been holding my breath for 10 years and finally remembered how to exhale. She pauses. We should celebrate. You, me, Sally, Emma. Girls' night. Emma's 6 months old. She doesn't do girls' nights. She can watch from her bouncer. Character building. I laugh, the sound surprising me with its genuineness. When did I become someone who laughs easily again? That evening, after Emma's bedtime routine, bath, bottle, stories, songs, I stand in her nursery doorway watching her sleep. The room is painted the soft yellow Jeremy helped with, one of the few contributions he made before Crystal consumed all his attention. I've thought about repainting it, erasing that last trace of him, but Emma loves this room. The color doesn't belong to Jeremy anymore. It belongs to her. I think about the viral video sometimes, the one that's been viewed over 20 million times now. The footage of Larry running across the parking lot, the timestamps that prove Jeremy's betrayal, the interior shots of him laughing in the lobby while I gave birth upstairs. People still reference it. Hashtag Larry showed up became a rallying cry for basic decency in relationships. Think pieces have been written about emotional labor, about the invisible work women do, about what it means to show up for the people you claim to love. But for me, the video isn't about Jeremy's failure anymore. It's about the moment I stopped waiting for someone else to validate my worth. The moment I looked at his text, "You've got doctors there. You'll be fine," and decided that fine wasn't good enough. I walked to my bedroom, the one that's entirely mine now. New bedding in colors I chose. Books on both nightstands. Photos of Emma and me, Sally and Larry, Alyssa, my parents. No pictures of Jeremy. He exists in Emma's life through court-mandated visitation once he's released, supervised until he proves he can be trusted. But he doesn't exist in my daily life anymore. On my dresser is a framed photo from Emma's birth, the one Larry took of me holding her for the first time. I'm pale and exhausted, my hair is a mess, and there are tears on my face. But the expression as I look at my daughter is pure love, uncomplicated and whole. That photo sits next to another one, taken last week, Emma and me at the park, both of us laughing at something outside the frame. Sally took it, capturing a moment neither of us knew was being documented. We look happy. We look complete. I pick up my journal, another habit Dr. Hastings encouraged, and write the date, Tuesday, 6 months after Emma's birth. Today I realized I don't think about Jeremy unless someone brings him up. I don't wonder what he's doing, who he's with, whether he regrets his choices. I don't imagine conversations where he apologizes and I grant forgiveness. I don't fantasize about revenge or karma or him finally understanding what he lost. I just live. I wake up with Emma. I go to work. I have lunch with friends. I come home. I read books. I make plans. I exist in my life without him as the central narrative. The viral video made me a symbol, wronged wife, strong mother, woman who didn't settle. But symbols aren't people. They're flat, one-dimensional. The real story isn't the video. It's this, 6 months of learning to trust myself again. 6 months of building a life I actually want instead of adjusting to someone else's needs. 6 months of showing Emma what it looks like to have boundaries, self-respect, joy. Jeremy chose Crystal and room 447 over being present for his daughter's birth. That choice defined him. But my choice, to not accept that treatment, to walk away, to build something better, that's what defines me. And I choose this. This quiet Tuesday evening. This sleeping baby. This life that's entirely, beautifully mine. I close the journal and check on Emma one more time. She's sleeping peacefully, one tiny fist curled near her face, her breathing steady and sure. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which means music class at the library, then a pediatrician appointment, then an evening with Alyssa. The days are full but not frantic, busy but not overwhelming. I've learned to ask for help, from Sally and Larry, from my parents who visit every other weekend, from the babysitter I hired 2 days a week so I can have time for myself. I've learned that needing help isn't weakness. That being alone isn't the same as being lonely. That showing up for yourself is just as important as showing up for others. The viral video showed the world what happened when someone failed to show up. But this quiet evening, this peaceful home, this content baby, this version of myself I'm building, this is what happens when you show up for yourself. And that's a story worth living, even if it never goes viral. I turn off Emma's light and head to bed, already looking forward to tomorrow. Not because anything extraordinary will happen, but because it's mine. Every ordinary, beautiful moment of it. And that's more than enough. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.